I have noticed that most of my friends who have started learning English through courses or even online, they complain to me over and over about the same issue, that they can't improve their speaking skills because they're not friends with any natives, or because they don't live in an English-speaking country, or even because they can't pay for an exchange program. So is this by any chance how you feel? If so, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you don't live in an English-speaking country, you'll have to be proactive about practicing speaking, otherwise you'll never get the opportunity. You'll have to look for alternatives, to take action, take the first step. The good news though is that this doesn't have to be difficult. In this lesson, Ksenia and I will tell you 5 simple ways for you to practice speaking English with other people, and these are things that you can try today even if you don't know any native speaker. And by the way, to get the best possible experience with this lesson, you should definitely be watching it on the RealLife app, so you can follow along with the digital transcript and understand 100% of what Ksenia and I are saying. And you can learn and never forget the new vocabulary by using intelligent flashcards. So check it out. It's free to download and you'll find the link in the description below. Ah, yeah. So Ksenia, hello. Hello, everybody. I want to start right away with the first tip. So Ksenia, the first tip that we have for our learners is join a speaking club. And I know you have been part of a speaking club before. So my first question to you is, what is a speaking club and how does it work?
Okay, so Izzy, I had been interested in joining a speaking club for so long before I finally found courage and actually found the speaking club in my city. There is an organization, or there is a group of active English learners who decide, why not having a speaking club in our city, right? So it may be somewhere close to the university, right? People learning languages, or it may be just in any social space, at any cafe. All you need is just like one active person who feels like, okay, I need to practice my English speaking and I have nobody to practice with. So why not organizing a speaking club? That's exactly what we had in our city. And now, from my own experience, I know that this is just a game changer. It really works so well, and I've been recommending it to every student I have just to join a speaking club, because it aligns perfectly with this fundamental purpose of any language. It's connecting people, right? Why we're learning language, to communicate with people. And that's exactly what happens during the speaking clubs. You come, you discuss topics you're interested in, you have this connection.
You could almost call it like a communication club. Right? 'Cause it's not just about, you don't go there to speak only, you go there to listen to, right? To connect.
Exactly.
Connection club.
There is this exchange of ideas. I think that's exactly what I found particularly captivating for myself, because, it's not just another English class. Yeah, it's a totally different ball game. It's an immersive space when you learn a language, and that's the space when you put this language you're learning into practice. You expose yourself to so many different opinions, perspective. I think that's what I was blown away by, how many interesting people just live here in my city. And yeah, I always took away some nice ideas, some food for thought from those meetings we had.
Food for thought. What does that mean?
Exactly. That's some interesting ideas that you keep thinking about after you just first heard it. Food for thought. These are some ideas you want to go deeper into, to reflect on them.
Nice. So anyway, about the experience you had. So how did it actually happen? How did you find it? And once you were there, what was the process like?
I had been going there regularly. Right now, I'm visiting occasionally, right? Because to be honest, I treat it as an improv class. Because, I live in Ukraine, so we don't have improv classes that would be taught in English. And I really wanted to have that in English and not online. I wanted to have an offline experience. So I thought, okay, I'm going to find a speaking club and treat it as an improv class for myself, because I was challenging myself how it works. Usually, the topic, so you kind of have an opportunity to get yourself prepared a little bit, at least take some notes, what you want to discuss, maybe check up some vocabulary, and you come to the place where these people meet, yeah, and you have a discussion, an interesting exchange of ideas on this topic. What I did, I never looked up the topic of the day. So it was always a surprise for me. I would hear the topic of the day, and I would have to think on my foot, right? I'll have to be spontaneous to come up with ideas just like on the go, right? Or on the fly.
On the fly. Think on your foot, or I've also heard think on your feet. So what do those mean?
Imagine that you don't have this opportunity to prepare when you have to act spontaneously to express your thoughts right away without preparation beforehand. That's exactly to think on the feet or to think on the fly, right?
Mm-hmm. But what if you can't? Because I don't know if there's a speaking club here in my town, in my city of Recife. Maybe there is. It's a large city. But what if I can't just find one?
Well, first of all, we live in times of technology. There will always be an opportunity to find a speaking club online. I know there are dozens, just like, Google it, go on YouTube or something, like type in speaking club, and you'll find thousands of online speaking clubs. The best part here is when you get into the driver's seat, when you organize a speaking club. So let's imagine you come from a small city, really. You don't have any speaking clubs in your city, but you are really passionate about. Be proactive, right? Organize it for your small community. Start from inviting your close friends and then maybe friends of your friends, right? And it may become this word of mouth. Your friends will be talking about the speaking club and more people will join. So just be proactive.
So yeah, be proactive. I think proactivity is a key value here because it won't come to you easy. It won't happen naturally. And that's why most people, they complain. I studied, I did this course, I finished this program, and now I don't have anyone to practice speaking with. Well, yeah, you're not, in an English-speaking country, so you'll need to be proactive about finding those opportunities. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the first tip, and there's so much in there that you could explore as well. But let's go to the second one, so we can get to all 5 in this episode. The second thing you can do is using the RealLife app. Now, this is not just promotion, guys. Even though we really love what we do here and we believe that we have created really the perfect app for all learners, but I use this myself, and I've come up with some tactics, for myself to speak with other people successfully, to really be able to strike up conversations successfully, and I want to share those.
Sure, Easy, but before you share that with us, could you please define the phrase you just used to strike up a conversation?
Interesting. Yeah, this is very conversational, right? It sounds very informal. When you strike up a conversation, you start a conversation with somebody, especially somebody who you haven't met yet or who you don't know much. So you strike up a conversation with them. And I thought about some tactics, some strategies for doing that successfully on the RealLife app, because maybe if you haven't tried it yet, listeners, you can download it. The link is in the description, and you can search for it on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Search for RealLife English. And when you get there, you look for the feature called Speak, or we also call it Global Speak, because you get to connect with learners from all around the world for these short conversations that go from 4 to 8 minutes. And that's what Global Speak is. It's a space where you can tap a button and you get connected with another learner from another place in the world that they're doing the same thing and trying to connect with somebody to speak. Now, one challenge that I've seen people face on Global Speak is that they don't know what to talk about, right? That's natural. I think it even happens in our native language, but to people to talk, they're like, okay, you get awkward. But it's easy to overcome it if you know what to do. So here's what I did. Yesterday I was using it, and I got to connect with 4 people from 4 different countries. So I met with Daniel from Peru, with Pablo from Colombia, Amin from Algeria, and Mahmoud from Egypt. And all those conversations were really great because I started it by asking the same thing. I could have asked something slightly different, but here is what I actually asked. So I was very direct, so we didn't waste time. It's like, hey, Daniel, I want to practice talking about the weekend, what we did on the weekend. So do you want to do? And I said, do you want to do that? And all of them responded the same, like, yeah, they were excited. So I said, okay, let me share something first. So what I shared was that last weekend, I hung out with some friends of my girlfriend. And then I stopped already and asked them back, how about you? Because I didn't want to spend so much time talking.
Yeah.
I want to also inspire them to say something. So that was great, because after that, they started to talk about their weekend. And then from there, I could ask them questions and evolve the conversation going in different directions. So it was amazing.
That is such a nice tip. Like, I mean, from the start, from the get-go, you let them know the aim of this conversation, the goal, right? That you are here for practice. And I believe this is something most of our learners are looking forward to when they join the app, right? When they subscribe to the app.
Yeah. And initially I was thinking, like, will this be rude? But I do ask them, like, do you want to do that? And they agree, because it's not rude, it's direct, right? So you don't need to ask about the weekend, though. Like, you can ask about dinner. Like, I want to talk about what we had for dinner, or what we had in our last meal. And then you share about yours, and they'll share about theirs. And the cool thing is, I think after that is ask questions. They'll learn from you too, if they're not so into asking questions themselves. Like, they will learn that it's nice to ask questions too. So that happened in all conversations too. For example, the first guy, so Daniel, when I shared that, he said that this weekend he practiced driving because he just got his license. So he needs more practice. So he practiced driving. And then I asked when he got his license, and why he decided to get it now. Because he was, I think it was like 23, 24. And then from there, he said that he's a lawyer. So it's better for him to drive to work. He saves money by doing that. And then he told me about where he lives. So I told him about my brother who lives in Peru. Anyway, so that's it. Using the RealLife app, you can just practice speaking. And it's also great because one thing that I felt after having these 4 conversations is that you get to just dispel misconceptions, I would say,
What a poetic word you just used, dispel.
So yeah, to dispel misconceptions about people, about other cultures. Dispel here is to eliminate or to make it go away. Yeah, so I got to meet all these people, and it was kind of like traveling around the world. So I love it. The RealLife app is just like something that I use myself.
That's awesome. And by the way, yeah, speaking is not the only thing that you can do on our app. For example, you can listen to this podcast while following the transcript, and then you can learn all these new words that we're defining for you using the flashcards. And talking about flashcards, Easy, we just got a 5-star review testimonial from one of our app users, Daniel Rock. Daniel really loves using flashcards, and let me read the message he left together with the 5-star review. I love the flashcards system and the excellent lessons you create. Keep it up with the good work. Love from Mexico. Oh, yeah. So it was a short trip to
Daniel.
Mexico as well. Thanks, Daniel.
Nice. Yeah, this is different Daniel, right? Not the same one from Peru. And for every lesson that we create, we have flashcards. We have a selection of advanced words that we use and that you can learn and maybe use yourself too. And with flashcards, with our vocabulary practice, you can practice all of these. Yeah, so today, for example, we said food for thought or strike up a conversation. So all of those become flashcards. So really great feature for you to expand your vocabulary too.
That's amazing. But Edie, do you want to share the third tip with us?
Okay, so we covered the first one was joining a speaking club. Second one, try the RealLife app. And the third one is similar to the speaking club, but it may be even easier. And I already hinted at it, which is practicing with a friend who speaks English. That's it. So we all know these people. We all have these friends. And I would say that there's also some tactics, some strategies that you can apply here to avoid some common pitfalls, I would say.
What is a pitfall?
A pitfall is like a common difficulty that people usually don't see coming, but that it's there, So if you get to know more, the situation, you can even alert. You can tell other people, hey, that's a common pitfall, like that people fall for. It's a trap. Because people picture that, I think. Like they imagine like, oh, I could just practice with my friends. I have a friend who speaks English, but they never do. So what gives? I think that it's because or not being proactive enough. We already talked about it. And we're not simplifying it. So make a list, just so you know who these people are, right? And reach out. We have WhatsApp here in Brazil, and I think most countries use the app WhatsApp. So reach out and ask if this is a person who you regularly see, like at work or at school. You can already make time for that when you see them, and insist. You'll have this another tip that I would give is insist. You won't probably like work the first time.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, actually. This is what I wanted to ask you, because I know from my own experience that sometimes it's more awkward to talk to people you know than to people you don't know. So, for example, my close friends, they both work with English, and when I wanted to talk in English with them, they just like didn't want to, because it's English is for work. Let's connect in Ukrainian. So you really need some tips and some tactics, just like you said.
You can do the same thing that you would do on the RealLife app too. You could say, hey, let's practice speaking. You need to get their agreement first.
Make it official.
Yeah. Right? You don't want to impose it. But once they say, yeah, let's do it. Even if it's just like for 2 minutes, for 5 minutes. Then you give them a topic. You say, okay, let's practice talking about what we did on the weekend or what we did today at work.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I would probably try if I wanted to practice Spanish, let's say, because it's really nice to practice the language with the natives, but not necessarily, right? So if your level, like in my case, talking about Spanish is really basic, I wouldn't want to start with talking to a native, right? I would start talking to a person who's also, went through the same path as me, so they can support me, they can encourage me, and they would not use connected speech. So it would be so much easier to start speaking to a non-native speaker of Spanish, in my case, right?
And then when you get to a more advanced level, higher intermediate or upper intermediate or more advanced, then speaking with natives would be great, because then you'll be able to connect at a higher level and then, talk about different things that they will be interested in too. But I was thinking, what if you are just too shy? You don't even, you find these ideas to be interesting, but like you feel like you're just too shy to just immediately be talking with other people.
Well, you would definitely need some prep work, right? You'll have to go prepared. You'll have to maybe have a list, like you mentioned earlier. But not only that, maybe you'll want to practice, even to rehearse before having a real conversation. And I think we talked a lot about it in one of our recent lessons we made on this, how you can practice English on your own.
Yeah, so we did that lesson. We're going to leave the link in the description. And in this lesson, we shared 5 things that you can do to practice alone, just to warm up, for actual conversations. So we talked about, I remember one of the exercises you shared was retelling. Like you watch a movie and then you try and summarize it. Wasn't it something like that?
Exactly. And that works perfectly. Even before connecting to somebody on the Real Life English app, you can do the same. You can read an article. Be prepared to tell a person about what you've read, right?
That's a great idea, yeah. Like same thing here, like the weekend, right? So if that's a topic, prepare. You don't need to immediately jump into global speak or conversation with somebody and be prepared to talk about the weekend if you haven't really practiced doing that. So record yourself, find the keywords that you want to use, and it's really a great idea. Have a script even, right? That helps. There's no shame in using a script for practice, I would say. Anyway, so again, the lesson's in the description, and you can go watch that once you're done watching this one. So let's go to the next tip, Ksenia, in the 5th one.
I'm excited about this one. Even if your city, town, village has anything of interest, has any place that is interesting to visit, you can have a hobby or take up a new job even, or or make it a side hustle, working as a tour guide for foreigners to practice your English. That sounds like a huge, like a big deal. Oh, I don't speak English as well. So think about this. There is one of the, how to say that, types of a tour, which is called gastro tour, right? And this is all about tasting local food. And you know, they say that food is a universal language. So by exposing your guests to these bustling street food markets, exposing them to the smells, to the tastes, you know, they'll get so much more than just words, because through that connection to your culture, you'll be able to tap deeper than just conversations, just sharing your traditions. You're becoming a part of this global conversation. Recently, we recorded a podcast about global citizenship, right? Global consciousness. That's exactly it. You're not only sharing about your culture, right? You are building those bridges between cultures through food, through showing around your guests. And this is exactly what one of our students did, right? Dan. Do you know Dan? Do you remember Dan?
Yeah, Dan from Vietnam. Dan the man.
Exactly. So he has his main job. What he does in his free time, he posted some advertisements online or something that he exactly offers those gastro tours for visitors of Hanoi, is the capital of Vietnam. And he even records short videos with them and posts on YouTube channel.
Wow.
With the aim to practice his English first, and then he's like really proud of his culture and he's really passionate about sharing it with the world. So that's exactly what he does. And he even inspired another student from our fluency circle, Steffi from Italy, who went as far as taking a course for guides because she's passionate about Italian architecture, Italian history.
That's interesting. And it makes me think that, meeting tourists, which is the tip that we're covering here, just meeting tourists, there's many ways you can do it, right? Now, another thing I heard related to this was T, our producer, he shared with me that he once went to Chile. He had a free walking tour experience. It was kind of like this. You know, he found his website. I think it's called like Tours for Tips. And they offered these pay what you like discovery tours. So they were free, but then at the end you could pay the person, you could tip them. That's interesting. If you can find, you, if you're a listener, can find something like this in your city, like an agency for free walking tours, you could try that for practicing your English too.
Yeah, and I think it's super easy, especially in bigger cities, because that's exactly what I did. I had the same experience in Warsaw. So we took this free walking tour. They're famous for yellow, some bright umbrellas. But that's a great thing to do for practicing your English.
Yeah, and I remember T also told me that the guides in that experience that he had, they were all locals. They were all from Chile. So they were simply practicing their English there. And finally, another idea that I thought was just fascinating, and it's even easier for you to get into it, was something that Justin shared. Justin, the CEO of Real Life English, that he has this theory that is actually a proven theory. It's been done by people. Justin claims that staying at a hostel in Rio de Janeiro will get you more fluent than studying abroad.
Oh, wow. What a statement. What a bold statement, I would say, right?
Yeah. So that's what he claims. And by the way, to claim something is to say that something is the truth, sometimes even without having the proof of it, but you just saying it.
Just like announcing, claiming, announce. There is a word proclaim. It's to say it publicly, right? To announce something publicly.
Nice word formation there. Yeah. But it is interesting that I think T also did this. He told me that he did it in his town, in his city. He stayed at a hostel in Floripa, I believe. Maybe it was a different city. And then he was practicing his English there. But then people were coming to him saying like, wait, but you live here, you know? But yeah, you can do that. Hostels are cheap. So you're not going to be spending a lot of money. And you get to hang out with natives or with people who don't speak your language, so you have to speak English with them to communicate, to connect. And that's the cool thing about hostels, like, is that you get to hang out. There's no sense of urgency either, you know, there's no like wasting time. Like you're there to do exactly that.
So Izzy, you just shared something that Justin was claiming, but I also remember him talking about couch surfing. Do you remember that? Could you share something about couch surfing?
Is that like surfing your couch, like going to the beach and taking your couch for
Maybe
surfing?
that's what he did, but actually, universally, couch surfing is staying at somebody's place. Yeah, so basically, that's the organization. There's an app. Yeah, so you search for accommodation in other cities and other countries by couch surfing, by staying at somebody's places.
It's kind of similar to Airbnb, but without so much the business part. Like people are not doing that. Like they have like an empty room or an empty house, like a space for you to stay. It's just a couch, you know, or it's in their actual house. So you are having these foreigners or these tourists over as guests in your own house. And he said that there's a whole community around it, around couch surfing. And not just a community, but almost like a philosophy or a set of values around global citizenship and sharing about your cultures. It's really nice. I haven't tried it myself, but you can go check it out. Just look for couch surfing, Google it.
I actually know one of our older students who was so impressed and so deeply connected with the global citizenship idea that she actually started taking people. She started this participating. She became a member of Couchsurfing movement, like you said. She's from Rome. Her name's Sylvia, and she's putting people up at her place, being a member of South Couchsurfing organization.
That's it. Like these are so many ideas that you can try, and not just in person, but online. Not just with new people, but also strangers. So you can try them today. Like that's another cool thing about it, is that they're easy to get into. That's it. 5 tips, 5 things you can do, and some bonus ones too that we offered in this lesson for you to practice speaking with other people. And the cool thing is that these are easy to get into. You could do it with friends, with strangers. It could be online. It could be in person. And they're all easy to do. And yeah, Ksenia, that was a pleasure to do this lesson with you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much, Izzy. And thank you so much for staying till the end. You remember that there is an easy way how you can support our channel if you're watching us here on YouTube. First of all, go to the comment section and write what you've learned about in this lesson. What of those tips you would want to try this coming weekend? And anything else that you tried that we haven't mentioned today. That would be super cool for us to learn, and also for your peer students who are also reading those comments. And we are always happy to see this small community that is building in our YouTube channel. Another way to support us is to give us a 5-star review. Maybe you will be shout out here as today's Learner of the Week if you give us 5-star, and also write a comment about your experience on the app. Remember about that. And as always, give this video a like, subscribe, and hit the bell down below. This allows you to get a notification every time we release a new lesson.
Ah, yeah. And Ksenia, as we always say on this podcast, no matter what divides us, that which unites us is far greater. 1, 2, 3. Ah, yeah.
It's so exciting when you get the opportunity to have a conversation in English and actually put to practice what you've worked so hard to learn. But then your mind goes blank. You feel sweaty. The other person seems to feel really uncomfortable, and the conversation just doesn't flow at all. You know, I've been there with every single language that I've learned. I still get shy sometimes to this day, and I know it sucks. You're here because you're tired of feeling shy and embarrassed when you have a conversation in English. Or maybe you're even avoiding getting into conversation at all because you're just too scared.